really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
A woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Hola, buenos dias. It's Unauthorized Opinions, everybody. Eric's not here today. He's in transit, so you're going to have to deal and love me all by myself. UOPod.com is where you'll get all the links. We're on Twitch, we're on Getter, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. And if you're listening to the ever-growing podcast, the millions and millions of you on Google Pods, iHeartRadio, shout out Spotify and Apple, of course, as well. Now, the title track today is, of course, I Don't Tell Men That I'm Trans, but we have to wait. I believe it's the first 10 minutes or the first 7 minutes of the video before we get into that sort of language, unfortunately. And we're going to start off with another story because of that. We've got lots to get to. I want to get to Alex Stein's latest video, which is also, not appropriate for the first 7 minutes of the podcast. And then this is, of course, YouTube's rules. Swearing, certain swear words, certain content. Can't have it at the beginning, can't have it in the title, can't have it in the thumbnail. And then we've got a proposal for legislation in France where they want to, ban doctored images without warnings, that sort of thing. And if we get to it, there's some sort of, weird hand product that I came across, a hand strengthening device. I don't know where that's going, and maybe a little bit of jag meat, but that's if we get to it. But we will be getting to our top stories. Don't you worry. And if you're watching on, Getter, it's been really weird. We were going from 1,500, 2,000 people an episode to now 100, if we're lucky, 200. And it seems to be screwing up every time we start going live. I don't know. I don't know if it's working for other people, but it shows up as on a loop for me when I'm watching it here in the back end. So tell me if that persists on Getter. Please join us in the chat. So the largest egg producer in the United States sees a huge profit, 718% profit growth, but just 1% increase in eggs sold. Now, this is something I wrote earlier in the week, and I want to earmark it, if you will, because it's insane. I think we can blow it up a bit more. Yeah. Because you're just like, well, wouldn't they be getting insane profits because they are selling way more eggs? The answer is no. So don't take this as me saying, hey, we should, force them to put their prices at something. That's not it. But this is just pure greed in a time where people don't have a lot of money. And if you buy your own groceries, if you pay your own rent, if you buy your own gas, you'll notice, of course, the last couple of years, everything has skyrocketed. But, and this is not a credit to Trudeau or Biden, inflation has eased incrementally over the last 4 or 5 months. It's flatlined and gone slightly down. So unless somebody wants to explain why prices are still increasing, I'd like to hear it. But what it seems to me is that many companies are still increasing profits because they're seeing that it's working and people are still buying it, even though their costs of services, their landed costs are not increasing as well. And this appears to be the case for this company called Cal-Maine Foods, the largest egg producer in the United States. So they increased profits by more than 7 times despite selling only 1% more eggs. And this is from CNN. And, we don't trust CNN because they suck. Even if their digital is much better than their newscast by 1,000%. I still checked other sources for this, of course, more, financial leaning outlets. They control about 20% of the egg market. I thought that might be funny. And sold just a single percentage point more of eggs in the quarter ending in February 2023, with an overall revenue increase of 109%, up to $997.5 million. However, profits increased to $323.2 million from just $39.5 million the year before. So they've gone up an insane amount. Imagine you're a stockholder in this, you own shares in this egg company, and it's worth this much money last year in 2022. And then in 2023, it goes up by almost, 10 times here, 39 million to 320 million, maybe 8.5, 9 times more. You're going to be excited. So investors.com explains the discrepancy in the figures, first by noting that the third quarter profits, they blew through their projected profits, which were 575%, a lot to begin with, and blew through them and went to 717%, increasing stock prices by over $6.62 a share. So that's quite a bit if you have your own stocks. Cal-Maine Foods increased its price for conventional eggs by 152% in the same quarter, up to $3.68 per dozen. Comparatively, the average selling price for specialty eggs was $2.62 per dozen. So not only are their conventional eggs expensive, but they're far more expensive than specialty eggs, even, your organic eggs, whatever buzzwords they're selling you. The chickens are pet every day. They get to watch chicken. I was gonna say chicken fights, but they probably wouldn't feel good about that. Down with cockfighting, you guys. An increase of 70 cents per dozen since Q3 2022, when prices were approximately $1.92. So this means that the egg producer priced its conventional eggs more than $1 higher than the average specialty egg, with the company saying that to be atypical historically. So they're even admitting that this is odd that their eggs, their regular eggs, are much higher than the average specialty eggs. They found that atypical. And the company CEO, named Sherman Miller, reportedly said to investors that the earnings increase is due to average selling prices of conventional eggs increasing along with a high customer demand. So not only are they just increasing the profit margin, of course, there's a higher demand. And then another thing they said is that it could be because the avian flu, but they also admitted that the avian flu has not gone through any of their farms. The CEO claimed that the avian flu has caused increased costs and supply chain problems, but it was also reported that there have been no bird flu outbreaks in any of their production facilities owned or contracted by them. So basically what's happening here is this egg company is jacking up the prices, and they're continuing to jack up the prices, seeing huge profits, and then they're telling the people that it's because of avian flu, which is making it harder to ship everything and harder to get as many eggs, obviously. But that's actually just not happening to them. So they're increasing the prices of the regular eggs higher than specialty eggs for literally no reason other than profit. Do I think that means we need to shut them down or regulate their profit margins? No. I'm just pointing out that you need to start shifting your dollars away from these large companies that keep raising their prices. Now, there's a bread company, an Italian bread company up here, and we noticed that their prices kept going up. And then the last time we bought groceries, it actually went down by more than $1. So they went up to like $3.79 or something ridiculous per loaf, and then they brought it down to maybe it was $3.29 and brought it down to back to $2.79, something like that. But they kept going up and up, and over the last month, they actually brought it back down, and that's what needs to happen. Is they're going to keep taking profit as much as they can, and bless them for it. That's free country. But if you want to hit them where it hurts, then you have to stop buying it, and the prices will eventually come down. More and more people are buying Walmart brand or whatever the inherent brand, the no-name brand of the grocery stores are. And I bet you they're seeing a huge profit gain as well as these giant companies keep increasing their prices. Now, it's weird up here in Canada because the dairy market is very regulated. They call it the dairy cartel often. You won't get a carton of milk from the United States here in Canada because the tariff is way too high. I took Britain's Lewis Brackpool of Iconic Media, formerly Rebel News, to a grocery store here, and he was just flabbergasted by the amount of milk choices. We've got every type of milk, every type of chocolate milk. There's fridges, there's aisles full of different types of milk. And then there's tons of different egg types, tons of anything that's dairy. We've got far too many choices. Of course, choice is great, but they're still increasing the prices, even though it's regulated and even though we have it in abundance. So a brick of cheese is going for $8 here when it would normally be somewhere between $3 and $4. You see what I'm saying? How as long as people keep believing that it's the government and inflation that's increasing the prices, people are still going to buy it at these heightened prices because they think there's no choice and there's nothing anybody can do. But in situations like this, it's actually the company just saying, hey, people are going to keep buying it, so we're going to keep selling it at that price. What can you do, I guess? And I see people on Getter say it's working so fine so far, so that's great. It's just that it's not doing great on this end. But here's what I think you all were waiting for. I think we're far enough in now that we can explain this title track. It's an insane article from the New York Post, and it's titled "I Don't Tell the Men That I Date I'm Transgender." And we're going to show you this guy. I mean, it's a guy. You can see him there. And I take a bit of issue with the New York Post. It, you know, I guess they're trying to. I don't know why they always do like the preferred pronouns for people. I just don't know why. A single woman has revealed. Why are you doing that? Why are you playing pretend? I don't know. But this is what the New York Post writes. We'll blow it up for you. Again, I don't tell the men that I date that I'm transgender is the title. And here's the explanation as such. A single woman has revealed that she doesn't tell men she's transgender straight away as people are, quote, too judgmental, saying she likes to wait until she's sure she wants to take things further. So this person going by Adia Danielle, who's 22 years old, always felt like there was something missing. And here's the crazy part about it. When this person was 16 years old and growing up, stumbled across a YouTube video and realized she was transgender. I'm going to take a drink so you can soak that in. Drink it in even. This person was 16 and watched a YouTube video which convinced them that they're actually transgender. And after realizing she was in the wrong body, Adia told her mom, and soon after began her journey to become a woman. I feel like this person's writing this on purpose because even if you were, I don't know, mandated to use the preferred pronouns, which you are not in the United States, you have freedom of speech, you don't have to write it this way. It means it's a company choice or that the person is doing it on their own accord. So either they're being told to do that or they're not being told either way, and they're doing it like on their own accord. And I tend to lean to the latter because they're using an awful lot of she, her where it's not necessary, where they can put the person's last name or they or anything like that, or whatever they want to put into place. But there's a lot of she and her in there. So I'm um, tending to believe that they're doing this on purpose. We can see more pictures of this male. And of course, they're from Canada. Despite being finally comfortable in her body, the Canadian influencer with over 138,000 followers on Instagram says she chooses often not to disclose the fact that she's transgender to men, which is often met with backlash. I wonder why. And it gets more narcissistic as we go on and self-delusional. And this is why you can't play into this lie. And even though people say, it's hateful and you're hurting them, there's no evidence that it makes it better if you play along with the lie. Just like you don't, if you don't tell somebody they got something on in their teeth, just because you don't want to be mean, be the person to be mean and tell them immediately, it makes it worse in the long run because then they're walking around with stuff in their teeth. A silly comparison, but I think it goes to the idea that you're not actually helping somebody by not telling them the truth. Here's what they say. Oh, I hate these. Don't you guys hate these banner pop downs? I truly despise them. Like, what am I supposed to do here now? I got to scroll back down and it starts going away. There's so much around the trans label. And if a guy were to learn that I'm trans before, he would make up a whole idea of how I am and how I must act. I don't think that's what it is, actually. I don't think the reason why men change their opinion once they find out that you were born a man, I don't think it's because they come up with a whole idea of who you are and how you act. I think it's the fact that they're home. Now, this isn't to be mean, but this is just to be the reality of the situation where this person thinks that it has nothing to do with the fact that they're a man. And were born a man, and up until 16, where a man went through puberty as a man, it actually has to do with the fact that they think that your personality is going to be a certain way and you're going to act a certain way. So that's, we're straddling the line here as we look at pictures of him as a boy and then through surgeries. I want him to get to know me, the person says. So I just tell them when I'm interested and when I want to take things further. So you know that the person thinks you're a woman, and in that way you're sort of omitting the truth is the best way you can look at it, and then you wait till you think the time is right, and then you tell the person that you actually have been lying about their identity. Imagine you could say that a person, Rachel Dolezal is going to let you think that she's black the whole time and then tell you maybe at the end. But this person sees no problem with it. Adia explained, it's common when dating not to disclose your full past until the relationship has developed. It's my past, and you're not going to meet somebody and tell them everything that happened in your past, she said. Online guys often comment, oh, you're lying to men, but then how can they say I'm lying if I present myself as a woman? So they're basically saying I'm a man. Yes, they are basically saying that. This person thinks that you being a man biologically, and I don't know what surgeries they've had, is akin to, telling a person you were adopted, or telling a person that, you went to a private school, or telling a person that your father was in the military, so you moved around a lot. A person's not, so you can say that a person shouldn't be privy to your past at all, and then you tell them, and they can change their mind. But that's exactly what they're allowed to do. Once a person learns about who you are, they're allowed to change their mind. If you tell a person, oh, actually, I murdered 3 people when I was younger, they're allowed to think of you in a different light. And if you want to think that's an extreme example, sure. If you tell somebody you were a pickpocket or a criminal when you were a kid, if you tell somebody that maybe you were abused or something, if you tell somebody that maybe you were a billionaire child, you didn't want to tell somebody that you were a billionaire, they might think differently of you because you're presenting yourself differently. That's entirely their right. And for this person to say, not only they say I'm lying, how can they say I'm lying if I present myself as a woman? Because you are lying. That's the thing. How would you be presenting yourself as a woman when you're just a woman? It's not I'm not presenting myself as a doctor because I'm a doctor. Like, I'm presenting myself as one. You see the card, it should be a cardinal and easy difference. This is like grade 4 difference here. But for some reason after 2017-ish, that ballpark, it became, you have to go to remedial levels here, and you can't say that this doesn't make any sense at all, or else you're hurting people. You can't say that just because I'm pretending to be something that I'm not that. You can't say that. And then they're basically saying I'm a man. They're not basically saying that you're a man. They are saying that you're a man. And if you wonder why all these men are saying that you're a man, the problem is probably you, I would wager. Growing up, Adia recalls dressing in her mom's clothes and wanting to play with her sister's toys, and believes her family knew she was, quote, different, which is fine. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares about that. Adia believes not much is known about transgender people outside of the community, saying it's often thought that people wake up and decide their gender when in fact it is not a choice. See, the problem with that is that they have positioned it so that you can do that, though. You can't question it. And in this person's case, you cannot question the fact that they just say that they're a woman. So on one hand, you don't want people to question it at all, and you want them to just accept it. But then you wonder why people say that you've just woken up and chosen your gender. Well, when there can be no conversation and there can be no burden of proof on the person claiming to be a woman, in this case, you can just say it, then there's going to be people who think the worst of you. I'm sorry to tell you. People just don't have to believe you. And that seems to be the biggest thing, the biggest problem. I was watching a Michael Knowles thing yesterday about him talking to protesters at his event that said he is, transphobic, blah, blah, blah. And why would a person say that they're a woman if they're not a woman? People make things up. People are influenced by things. There's a big problem in this, in the Gen Z, where, you just have to believe people. You don't believe certain subsects of people because you've labeled them as evil, whether it be Republican or straight men or something, or women who want to have their own locker rooms or not have men in their sports. Those people are bad. We've established that. But other people who politically align with you, they have to be believed. And that's a weird stance that we've gotten into lately. So previously, apparently, Adia hit headlines after revealing the complications they suffered after going a Brazilian butt lift. So if you are a woman and you're just presenting yourself as one, and somebody should just believe you, then why do you need a butt lift? That's what I don't understand. There's supposed to be no concrete definition of what is a woman. It should be whatever you want to be is a woman. If you just call yourself one, and then but for some reason these people still go out and they get butt lifts and they get this undergoing gender affirming surgery, which of course is a pretend word that we made up to say plastic surgery and plasties and gynoplasties and penoplasties and whatever the words are. So why do you need to look like like a stereotypical woman if there's no such thing as woman? That's what doesn't make any sense. And then they talk about putting gauze in the places where you don't want to talk about putting gauze in the places. There's another picture of this guy where I hope you could tell that it's a guy up close, but maybe some people can't. There's garnered immense support online, such as this article, and this banner still in the way. This is the picture I think you can really tell. I mean, do what you want, I guess, but like if you think you have the right to mislead people, and then when they find out you've been misleading them, they don't like you and they're not allowed to do that. I mean, there's a reason, and the reason that they go with is that it's everybody's fault but mine, because society and social media has told me for a few years now that this is the greatest thing in the world. And that's where we are on that topic. I wish that stuff was funnier. And I think we have a couple funnier things to get to. But I'll take this time to push you to unauthorizedopinions.com or uopod.com. You'll see all the places we can stream to, and it's on all audio platforms. Anything you can find, I promise you we're on there, unless you're listening through like MySpace or something. Maybe we're on there. And then, of course, YouTube, Getter, Twitch, and Twitter. They all end in ers. You notice that lately? Alex Stein came out with a new video where he went around with this guy he says is his girlfriend's boyfriend, I think his wife's boyfriend or something. And the great thing I like about these videos, and I've only spoken to Alex a couple times, but the thing I love about these videos is how he neutralizes the only weapons they have. Now, the weapons these protesters have are, of course, name calling you a bigot. That's the big one. The ones they have online are, bigot and trying to end your job. So when they can't shame you or make you lose your job, which they can't do to Alex Stein, they go towards violence. And this is what you're going to see. They throw coffee on them. They like to spit on people a lot, which is odd. That's, even though spitting like doesn't really physically hurt and it's still technically an assault, it's really tends to be reserved for, a certain level of disgust. And if that's what they feel towards him, that's sad. But this is literally all they have. And when he laughs at them when they're throwing coffee and launching spit at him, he takes away pretty much all their weapons. And, they can't handle that. So let's watch a little bit of this Alex Stein video.
They throw water on me. They assault me. You got the cops here. They don't do anything about it. They just spit on me. They just spit on me. They just literally spit on me. Hey, children cannot consent! You guys are all sick! Children cannot consent! You guys are disgusting! I'm here with my wife's boyfriend! Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent!
I'm here with my wife's boyfriend, he says. I just want to highlight that.
Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent! Children cannot consent!
So for our audio listeners here, Alex Stein's in this giant crowd in New York City. They're pushing him around. And now we're at a wide shot of him getting attacked.
What are you gonna do?
So the whole thing is basically him selfie camming it to people try to spit at him and throw stuff at him.
I thought more coffee on me! More coffee! More coffee! Get out! Get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit!
They're all just taking turns pushing at him.
That's enough! That's enough!
It's like people who always wanted to partake in being a bully finally getting their chance, because as he walked out, Alex Stein, that is, as he walked out of the crowd, they all just take these little jabs at him. They all give him little punches, or they give him a little shove, like, yeah, I'm doing it too. I'm beating him. I would hate to see these people in like an actual violent mob. And that's all it would take, would be one person, breaking a bottle over his head or something. If one person did that, then I guarantee you these people would engage in murder. allegedly. But it's just such bad mob mentality that a guy, and I've done this myself. I've been, a quote unquote victim of this myself. When you're actually not a victim, the protest turns into something about you. I've gone and interviewed people it wasn't Extinction Rebellion. It was like some sort of sit-in environmental protest for oil. They blocked this major intersection in Toronto, and they demanded I wear a mask or a face shield. We were outside. One person called me a Nazi for some reason. I'm not sure why. And they just follow you around, and eventually the protest becomes about you. And there's a huge crowd around you, like there is here, and you're just like, okay, if you're going to harass me and stop me from doing my job, which is, making commentary about this event, then we can make the whole protest about me. And that just shows the level of, disillusions and, lack of core competency in your own arguments, when this one person can just, in Alex Stein's case, literally just say things that you find offensive, like the most generic things that if you were to say, what would a trans activist find offensive? He can just go up there and say that and they'll lose their minds. When it happened to me, of course, nobody was attacking me. A couple people wanted to. I think a couple people pushed me. But just trying to ask questions about what they're doing there, and they can't handle it. And I would just hate to see these people in a place where cameras weren't around, because I think we see what happened to somebody like Andy No the one time, and then of course the riots. They all just jump in, and when the sun goes down, they turn from pushy little losers in the park to violent criminals. And I just think that we're lucky, especially in Alex's case, that he's a bigger guy, because if it's a girl and she gets pushed on the ground, which has happened to people like Caitlin Bennett, where they mobbed her, or Savannah Hernandez, where they mob her, it can get ugly really fast. But people like Alex Stein, and even my guys, Danny Mullen and Leo DiTavio, they're bigger guys, especially Leo and Danny. They're both like 6'3". And when these things happen, it kind of helps diffuse it when there's, not a threat of physical violence against the person, but they still try. And you'll see more here that they still try to push them around and spit on them.
Look at that! Oh my God! Look at that!
Like this girl's just standing there throwing water at him. And in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I'm still a good person. I'm throwing water at this guy. I don't know who he is, but he's been targeted here as the bigot. He's saying things I don't like. So it's okay for me to throw stuff at him because everybody else has bad feelings towards him.
This is disgusting.
And it keeps going.
I want to get spit on? Dude, you're an idiot. You're a loser. You're 2 feet tall. You're 4'11". NYPD, you see the coffee? You see them throwing on me? You don't do a damn thing about it because you protect groomers. These NYPD, they care about groomers. They bring me a coffee. Yeah, I cut it off.
Because you're crazy.
What are you? Oh yeah, you don't have a gender. You don't have a gender.
This is I want to show that for a second. This is a person calling Alex Stein crazy for the audio listeners. It's what appears to be, a guy dressed as a woman wearing a leather hat, sort of with a collar on, sort of like an 80s hair metal band member, maybe some Judas Priest or something like that, with weird like hieroglyphic makeup on and black lipstick and a nose ring, calling Alex Stein crazy, and with a nice shawl on as well. But that's just where we at, as the trans liberation sign with a person with a mask on under their chin stands in the background.
Because you're crazy.
What are you? Oh yeah, you don't have a gender. You don't have a gender.
First off, you're a fucking nerd.
I'm a nerd. Look at this.
Fucking move, bro.
Oh, the trannies! Oh, look, the trannies are mad!
Fuck you and anybody that works for you.
Why is that? But I like
Because you're scared of everybody.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm trying to
petrified.
No, I'm not. What? No, you're too dumb because you're on too many hormones. I love it. Have you ever heard of Lupron? Do you know that Lupron is a self-castration drug? Do you know that?
I've heard of the drug, but
Have you ever heard of Lupron?
I have heard the name.
So they're giving kids Lupron, which is a castration drug. There's my wife's boyfriend. You got any chance for my wife's boyfriend?
I don't have a card.
Look, come on, so you don't have a card? You didn't want to support, you don't support black people? Are you racist? Look, he's racist. He's racist. You got any money? What? Yeah, I'm not allowed to protest.
You can do what you like to do. You're causing a big scene every time you go in there. You're allowed to go in there. You're allowed to do what you want to do. Just make sure you guys stay.
So I don't know if this guy's an undercover or what, but he's coming up to Alex Stein in sunglasses and a toucan or a beanie, if you will, saying, "Oh, listen, You're causing a scene every time you go in.
I know, but I'm getting hit with.
I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want them to get hurt. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
I'm not afraid to get hurt.
That's
because
fine.
I'm trying
I'm
to
not- I
protect
don't want you
children.
to get hurt.
Well, I'm not afraid. These people are afraid. What? See, you just because you're gay and weird doesn't mean you're right. From Primetime 99, Alex Stein, get me on camera. Come on, look, say hi. Say hi to the internet. It's okay to be gay. Don't cut your penis off today. It's okay to be gay. Don't cut your penis off today. It's okay. It's so funny. Y'all see me. Y'all see her throw water on me, and y'all do nothing. Look at her. So she should just throw water on me. Imagine if I threw water on you, officer. Then get off me. I fucking stutter. Look, I'm gonna break your face. They're trying to. Oh, you're gonna break my face? What are you? Why don't you the fuck up? Oh, I'm so scared of a pussy like you. Yeah, you guys. What are you guys gonna go? Cut off a kid's penis? Oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. That's why I come from Texas to a bunch of New York pussies like you.
So what Alex Stein's doing there is obviously antagonizing them, but the way I see it is, once you attack somebody, you tend to lose. And I love the guys who are being like, "Oh, I'm going to beat you up, Alex Stein, with my, frilly umbrella." Hopefully, now we're trending in a funny direction here, in a humorous direction. We started off with something serious like egg production, but we're trending upwards here in a comical direction. Alex Stein, we've got another guy who's upset that guys don't like it when they find out he's a guy. And then we go to just this funny ad I saw on Twitter today. I don't even have any idea what it actually is for. I think it's to strengthen your wrist. Let me refresh it because I want to show you the thumbnail as to why I actually clicked on it. Now I can grip my meat even harder, is what it says. That gets me to watch your video. I mean,
Day 1 using the Grip Buddy. Low-key struggling. Day 3 using the Grip Buddy. It's getting easier. Day 7 using the Grip Buddy. Now I can grip my meat even harder.
Okay, so that's supposed to be a
Day 1 using
TikTok video, I think. But riddle me this: does advertising your product as something to grip your meat harder actually make people want to buy it? I would venture not. I would venture that this doesn't actually make people want to buy it. It is hilarious, though. Let's move on to a story out of France. My people out of France. You want to see what the French are up to. So they're considering making a law which proposes jail time or bans on social media for people who promote plastic surgery and don't label the filter photos. And it's getting really hot in here. I'm going to take off my, Fallout hoodie, reveal my Garfield Andrew Says propaganda t-shirt. If you guys want to see that, there it is. Audio listeners, Garfield shirt that says you're not immune to propaganda. In France, a new law under consideration in France would apply strict enforcement against social media influencers who do not disclose retouched photos or who promote paid partnerships for certain industries such as plastic surgery. So, and this is from the New York Post, the finance minister, for some reason, coming up with laws. And this would require people to label photos as being retouched and photoshopped. And if you don't do that and you're caught, you might go to jail or you might have a huge fine. It also bans paid partnerships for cosmetic surgery, gambling, and cryptocurrency, which I just see as, anti-freedom. If I want to sell you cryptocurrency and you think it's amazing and you bought into FTX guy because Tom Brady told you, I mean, it does lend credibility to the idea, but this is still your own risk. Cryptocurrency is literally gambling. It can take a turn on whether or not somebody tweets about it. And then gambling, how is the UK going to survive? This is France, obviously, but the UK wouldn't survive without gambling, sponsorships, and ads. And then cosmetic surgery. Now, that's a weird one. I don't normally come across that. Maybe it's a Brazilian thing. Maybe it's a France thing. But I think you should be able to promote anything you want as long as it's not illegal. If you're saying that cosmetic surgery, cryptocurrency, and gambling is dangerous to society, then why isn't it banned? You just don't want people promoting it. Just like in Canada, you can't promote cigarettes, but for some reason you can promote beer and weed. but you can still sell cigarettes. I don't really understand it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So influencers could face up to 2 years in jail and over $30,000 in fines. If found guilty, they would be banned from social media platforms and they wouldn't be allowed to go back to it. If you got this social media banned, you wouldn't be able to go back onto the social media networks and continue your career as an influencer, which of course is a very narrow path. You have to get to the status of acceptability where brands will want to work with you, while at the same time being marketable enough and hope that people, want to buy what it is you're selling. I think the thing that most people can hope for is having a skill or a talent, and social media supplements that so you don't have to become obsessed and addicted to it. I know people who are a little too obsessed and addicted to social media and then the numbers and everything behind it, but my feeling is that, and this is what Eric said, rest in peace, Eric. He's not dead, he's just in New York. But it shouldn't change what you're doing. Yes, you can tinker with what gets more traction, but at the end of the day, you're probably just going to keep creating content and doing it more. So I don't think the social media obsession is really helping anybody. We will not let anything go by, the minister remarked, while adding that the governing bodies must not discriminate or overregulate the social media sector. Influencers must be subject to the same rules as those that apply to traditional media, and the internet is not the Wild West. Now that's something that they say a lot in Canada. Justin Trudeau and his ilk. The internet's the Wild West, you guys. There's nothing on there, just like it was in 1985. No regulation at all. These are words they use when they want to regulate the internet. That it's not the Wild West, you guys. France tried to pass a similar law in 2017 that required any commercial photos to label any retouching or editing that made a model's body look thinner or thicker, which obviously doesn't happen. Mandating a photographie retouchée, retouch photograph label. The thing is about this, of course, when you start getting the government or some sort of body to determine what is and what is not allowed in terms of speech like this, a form of free speech would be getting to post something that's legal, a picture of myself that's photoshopped. And in this case, if you're not selling something, if you're selling, a weight loss pill and you Photoshop somebody to look like they've lost more weight, I could see that as false advertising and against the law. But if it's a person and they're just posting that, well, who's to decide if they're an influencer or not? Do they have to apply for this status? It's just creating more government regulation and more oversight. The better thing to be would be teach people about literacy in terms of, hey, everything you see is not going to be real. Just because you see a picture on the internet doesn't mean you should take it as fact or 100% confirmed. Anybody can Photoshop anything. We've got AI to create pictures now. Just like if you read a story online, then you shouldn't just take it as it's gospel. You shouldn't just take everything Tucker Carlson says. You shouldn't just take everything Rachel Maddow says, and you certainly shouldn't take everything Shank over at the Young Turks says as gospel. You need to look for things for yourselves because it'll help you speak about it. Something you run into a lot now is people taking quotes from people and not attributing them right because they just write what somebody else writes, and it's like a game of telephone. You'll be surprised at how many journalists for the certain outlets, a lot of the aggregates, take stuff and they reword a direct quote. So you kind of sort of have to maybe go and check out the video yourself and make sure it's being written down correctly. And in terms of this, if you see a photoshopped image of a model or something and you say that's what I have to look like, then I'm afraid that that's on you. And if your argument is against children should not see this, then maybe you think that children shouldn't have access to it. There's all these different things. And I don't think that the government is the one to solve them. I think it's the people getting together and deciding what should and should not be allowed. But I don't think, restricting advertising is the way to go about things. You need to tell the little girls or little boys that listen, just because you see something online doesn't mean it's real. And it doesn't also mean that it's not real. I mean, you could see a picture of a model and be like, that's an unattainable body standard. And you can be like, well, is it? I mean, there are men with six packs out there that get shown all the time. I'm pretty sure Brad Pitt in Troy was CGI'd, and I love that movie. But you didn't hear a whole thing about, unattainable body standards for Brad Pitt. Or did you? No, I don't think you did. So it works both ways, but I think that people have to understand that in this very fat focused pro fat society that we live in, that there are people who do exercise a lot. And whether it's for movies or what, that it does happen. Now, I have a little bit of a bone to pick on that with the guy from Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a great show and I love him, but he's posted pictures of himself about like working out twice a day and dehydrating yourself as being an unattainable standard, but he did it and he willingly did it. So then how can you say that it's unrealistic for people to, look at that and say that that's something to aspire to? Either do it or you don't. I truly don't get that angle. Maybe I'm too okay with myself. Maybe that's what the problem is, you guys. I want to go to Jagmeet Singh lastly. He put out this video where he's talking to two what I think are seniors. It's a short video. Let's take a look.
Keep going.
I will.
Please.
I got to get him out. I am going to try my hardest.
You won't believe it. We're conservatives.
Oh, really?
No longer.
No longer.
I've had
Okay.
enough.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. That's really nice of you to say. No. We don't like that. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Okay.
Good.
Keep going.
I will.
Please.
I got to get him out. I am going to try my hardest.
You won't believe it. We're conservatives.
Oh, really?
No longer.
No longer.
I've had
Okay.
enough.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. That's really nice of you to say. No. We don't like that. Thank you.
So first things first here, those aren't conservatives. This goes along with me saying don't believe people just because they say so. Those appear to be British accents, so they're not even from Canada. Maybe they live here, they're permanent residents, and they can vote, but they haven't been here long enough to lose their accent. So that's a red flag too. So you're going to Jagmeet Singh, who is supposedly this socialist guy or socialist Democrat guy, in his Canada Down jacket here, his very expensive jacket because he's a man of the people. And you're saying we're conservatives, but hey, you socialist. I used to be a conservative, but now I identify as a socialist. Is that because you're on Social Security? I don't know, but I don't see how you can make that transition unless you don't have to worry about your bills at all. So you've gone from that, and what do they call Pierre Poilievre there? Let me listen to that again.
Great to see you.
Okay.
Good.
Keep going.
I will.
Please.
I got to get him out. I am going to try my hardest.
You won't believe it. We're
We're
conservatives.
conservative.
Oh, really?
No longer.
No longer.
I've had
Okay.
enough.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. That's really nice of you to say. No.
Pollywog, they call him. Get that pollywog out of there. So you don't like true, like you're conservative, but you don't like the guys who are kind of liberal. It doesn't make any sense. So you're on the right, and then Trudeau and Poilievre are slightly to the left of that, and you don't like them, but you actually want the even further, like, because Trudeau's here, Poilievre's like here. If this is right wing, if this is conservative, Trudeau's, let's go further. Trudeau's here, Poilievre's a bit closer to conservative, but Jagmeet's all the way over here, and Jagmeet's the guy you want now. This is a couple that's on a pension. They don't pay any bills. They sit at home and they watch CBC, and then they watch Jagmeet talk to people and tell them how much health care they need and how much dental coverage they need because they don't pay taxes anymore. Or if they do, it's on income they've already accrued. And they say, get Pollywag out, because you learned this cute nickname for him on the news. And this is something Jagmeet's bragging about. Hey guys, 60-year-old seniors from England think that I'm more conservative than Pierre and Trudeau, or they've been pushed so far left wing from these conservatives being crappy that this is something to be celebrating. Now, I'm no scientician or political scientist, but I would have to say that these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And be promoting this as Jagmeet, you're now saying that the people who used to be with Trudeau and Poilievre are now going to you. That is just not what's happening. They're going away from them. Jagmeet has not made some sort of significant gain in politics here. It's just not what's happening. Maybe if he was part of the French party, he'd claim this, but this isn't what's happening. And, Jagmeet's one more election loss away from losing his job, most people think. I don't think he should because they're never going to win anyways. I don't know what this is. And this isn't an endorsement of Trudeau or Polyev. I don't like either of them. But you gotta wonder here what somebody who says that, I don't like Trudeau anymore and I don't like Polyev anymore. You got to wonder how that equals Jagmeet. Like, I'd be interested to see if there's a longer conversation with that. But he got his little clip, he enjoyed it, and now he gone. Everybody, he gone. I think we've run out of time here. Don't forget to get your your hand clasping thing, and don't forget to tell people that if you're trans, they have to date you. And don't forget to retouch your photos and not tell anybody. All that great stuff. UOPod.com is where you can find everything. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on iHeartRadio, and Amazon Podcasts. On video, you can find us on Getter, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. But Spotify, you can watch us there as well. It's been great chatting with you guys. Just going to check the hopefully Getter worked out. It hasn't been working out lately, but we are blowing up a little bit through our shorts and our reels. So we support you guys supporting us, and we would love it if you keep sharing. Leave us a review on these podcast channels. If you listen in your car or anywhere else you listen on audio, please give us a 5-star review. Share these videos. Go to our YouTube channel. We upload something new there pretty much every day now, whether it's shorts or clips from these podcasts. And remember, I wouldn't lie to you, except for maybe this once. And then Eric's going to be back next week, you guys. Eric's coming here. We're going to get so much content out here. We're going to be in the same room. You guys are going to love it. And wish him luck. He's in New York right now. We'll see you next time.
Turn it up, Jordan.